site, and right there is written the 10 predictions, okay? Here is the movement, folks, that is trying to peacefully resolve it. If this doesn't work, then we have no guilt in pursuing our last option because we've taken the high ground. So here's a letter that's been sent out. Let me read it. To my fellow patriots, America has spoken. Hundreds of you have volunteered to join the de jure grand juries before Sunday night's broadcast of Take No Prisoners was finished. Men and women just like yourself who love freedom and wish to embrace the posterity of for their children and grandchildren took not a moment to decide that this was the time to re-inhabit, get that? The original institutions of their forefathers. The message is that you are not alone. Thousands of you already realize your fate is finally in your hands, and it is no longer necessary to beg others for your blessings, to grovel over false prophets, and to plead with corporate actors for scraps from the table, and to delay your life any longer due to hollow promises, to crawl like snakes on your belly for the privileges of the Bar Association's codes. All of that, the shameful era of corporate worship, is to be finished, concluded, peacefully, quietly, honorably, by the men and women of good faith, just like you, by your own declaration within the next couple of months. And like I said, the first part of this year was going to be a movement to make this happen. If it doesn't work, guys, well, you fill in the blank. We welcome each and every one of you to the Freedom Buffet. Sounds fun. A few important points to read carefully. Now listen, guys, get your pencil, get your paper, get ready. Those of you who have already joined assemblies are very welcome to take the covenant of office for the guardians, not of the Grail, but of a free republic and a de jure grand jury. In this way, you can enjoy direct participation in restoring sovereign monarchical type control over the institutions of your land without the sort of public pronouncements and local provocations that incite resistance and violence. 2. Those who can muster an entire band of at least 25 people should be ready for this cause. And please send an email to, and it has an email, with the following message. It has the message there. You see, once you understand the remedy is global across America, and it does not require the blessing of actors, it does not require that each man and woman continue to be fighting battles in islands, like islands in the wind, and you should understand the only thing that matters is this time that we assemble a certain minimum number of courageous people according to a plan that brings forth a remedy behind the scenes of a what? What kind of government? Alien government. Should you volunteer, your life does not hinge on whether or not you volunteer at this particular time. The remedy will be available for all members of sovereign people, since it is the de facto institutions that will be adjusting rather than the sovereign. May I suggest you begin to adjust your mindset to once again being masters of your own domain. Sovereign. It says here, permit me to clarify some of this information. Initially, the de facto insurance bonds of certain public officials will be attached, rendering their respective offices subject to reabsorption into their de jure counterpart. Actors will have 3 days to comply or be removed, as they will no longer have the pretense of authority in the face of de jure government. Using progression of specific writs, our first priority to terminate foreclosure actions, collections procedure, tax prosecutions, and prosecutions without an injured party on the state and national level. Simultaneously, sovereign identification will be designed by public institutions that are responsible for such. Public databases will be adjusted. Certain trappings of government will be modified and removed to reflect a return to the lawful government, and as a notice to the public. Subtle notice for sure, just like in 1933. In the second phase, D.C. courts will be reabsorbed into the Article 3 institutions and so forth. The specific methodology must remain classified for strategic purpose. Folks, it's war. Some of these events will occur directly through the public actors, and others will occur through military liaison. If you study military history and publications, you'll probably understand the military's duty to obey proper civilian authority is intrinsic to their conscience and part of their nature. So the United States Army and the Navy Manual of Military Government and Civilian Affairs outlines military authority to recover domestic territory from enemy occupation and to restore civilian government, domestic sovereignty, and retain proper civilian law. High-ranking political officers from office will be replaced. Well, they understand we have been under occupation since 1861 because everything since then has been de facto and illegal. Just the other day, not yesterday, 3 or 4 days ago, Obama said in his speech, that Congress refused to pass a certain bill, so he went ahead and wrote an executive order. When did a president become a legislator? Well, he's been one all along. He has been turned in to a de facto heir of an empire. They took us from monarchy by infiltrating it and dethroning the rightful heir to a republic form so they could have more control and put into place their people. Turn it back into, guess what? A mockery. Not a monarch, but a mockery of a monarchy. And they will be, guess what? Kings and czars, emperors of an empire. The military is not necessary for your remedy. You do not need yet another champion. So, folks, I will have this information up. I will have links to a broadcast that was put on internet radio about this movement, and it was signed on behalf of the Guardian Elders. We thank you for reading and ask if you would kindly circulate this far and wide. Sam Kennedy. Now, folks, we have quite a war going,